In front of you is a truly magical feat in online gaming. You see these rectangular bars sitting neatly in columns, the way they fit perfectly stacked on top of each other. These are called server room lists. They are aesthetically pleasing and easy to sort because of valuable information held within them. And with this information, you can choose what kind of experience you want to have in the game you're playing. For example, most of these lists show ping at the far right, and there is a little button at the top that will bring all of the rooms with the lowest ping right to the front of the page. But at some point, room lists just weren't good anymore. People wanted a faster, more efficient way of finding a game, and thus matchmaking was created. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's the process of automatically making a match. If the game called for 2 teams of 5, they would find 10 people, divide them up evenly, and start the game. But while matchmaking has the advantage of quickly and completely filling a room, it's worse in almost every other aspect. Unlike server room lists, you are unable to see the ping of other players until the loading screen or when the game starts, or you could find one team that is much more skilled than the other. Now over time, matchmaking systems have evolved to sift through players by location and skill level, minimizing these problems. But there are times to use matchmaking and times when not to use matchmaking. Matchmaking works really well in MOBA games because you're unable to start a match until both teams have a set amount of players, and people usually play in a group, so it's logical to let matchmaking find a team for you to fight against. And the same goes for finding a group to run a dungeon in an MMO, because all you have to do is pick your role. It would just be inefficient to have to search for a party manually from a list. The best type of game to have a matchmaking system, in my opinion, are King of the Hill type games, like PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, where they literally throw 90 some odd people into a big map. It would be unbearably tedious to have to find a room and wait for it to fill up instead of just using a matchmaking system. But team-based and free-for-all tactical shooters are where the server room list shines. It grants the ability to pick what kind of match you're getting into, from what kind of ping you're dealing with, to how many players are in it, to what their skill levels are. And these are all important things to consider before a match starts. Also, fighting games benefit a lot from server room lists, because being able to sort by ping becomes incredibly useful when every millisecond counts during a match. The problem I have is that some games implement a matchmaking system, but take away the server room list, when having it would take nothing away from the overall experience of the player. If you're playing a shooter, or a fighter, or even a card game, and it only has matchmaking, you inevitably come across some major problems. Because even with these matchmaking algorithms that sift through players, say there isn't many people online at the time, you'll most likely be matched up with someone of vastly different skill, or a person that has a poor connection, and that could ruin an otherwise fun and enjoyable game. And sure, you're able to make custom matches in games that use matchmaking exclusively, but most of the time that's only with friends. So say you don't like how the previous game went, and you want to do a rematch. You first have to convince the person to be your friend, and then create a custom match and then invite him. Whereas if you were in a server room, you could just stay in the room. It's that simple. Having a server room list also allows you to create a modded lobby where you can have fun in ways the game didn't fully intend you to, like everyone getting automatic rocket launchers or double health, because people know what they're getting into. But if you use mods and matchmaking, it's deplorable, it's cheating, because you and your opponent are on uneven playing fields, and they're just trying to play the game the way it's meant to be played. My biggest problem with matchmaking is that it's completely blind. You have no idea what you're getting into. And I understand that if the game uses peer-to-peer, then you can't really have a dedicated server room list, but that's a whole other topic to discuss. The basic point I'm trying to get across here is that if a game can have a server list, then let it have one. It takes away nothing. You can even have matchmaking as the default option, but granting the player the ability to choose what they're getting into makes the experience much better for some people. Anyway, thanks for listening, and if you want to hear me open the discussion on various topics in gaming, then please subscribe. I want to know what you think is better, matchmaking or room lists. And don't forget about the Daily Quest Discord, the link is in the description. You could like us on Facebook as well if you're into that sort of thing. Also, special shout out to Caitlin, she is the artist that made our new logo and banner. Her link will be in the description as well, so feel free to tell her how good she is at what she does. Until next time, peace out.